Thank you very much, Shocks. I'm Rivington Bisson III alongside Joshua Jat Leesman, and this is the spot where our team of broadcasters will bring you every Invade, Baron Steel, and Next Level play from today's group stage matches.
And we're just getting started here at the World Championships, but before we get to today's action, let's send it over to Joe, who's getting comfy in the interview lounge.
Welcome back to the League of Legends Season 3 World Championship. It's time for our first match of the day, everyone. Southeast Asia's Mineski versus Korea's Samsung Galaxy Ozone. Coming into this match, I don't think anyone, including our analysts right now, are giving Mineski much of a chance here, Jap.
No, and it's because Mineski looked entirely overmatched yesterday in every aspect of their games. They just...
And it's amazing to see the camaraderie of these teams, you know, what they focus on, when they figure out they need to focus on it, and still know that he's a huge part of the team.
Yeah, even though Ohm has been basically put on the bench here for Looper, he is still obviously a communication factor for them, and he's a leader to them even from the bench. So they still have the potential before every game if they want to put him in the starting lineup. It's not locked in that Looper's playing every single game.
Absolutely.
But this one, Looper's playing. All
right, so with Looper in there, let's check out the lineups all together. In the blue side, it is going to be Mineski. And as you know, you're saying a little bit yesterday, a lot of the same things from Ozone within their two games, the one victory and then the one loss to Gambit. It showed a lot of Rise as well. And then in the other lanes, they had Singed, and they had in the jungle the same thing continuously.
Yeah, exactly. Dade picked Rise because traditionally Rise has been a counterpick to Ahri.
Right.
Now Rise's ranges have obviously been decreased in recent patches, and honestly, I still think the Rise pick could work against Ahri, but Dade just played far too aggressive in the early game, gave up too many kills early, and then was never able to get going.
And look at that, Looper has drawn the Singed ban, his first two
mid and bottom lane focused when they play with Ohm, because Ohm generally plays... He's got the Shen or Nasus style out of the 10 games yesterday in all of the group stages. And a lot of people actually argue that Dade has the best Zed in the world. People will obviously say Faker is the best Zed in the world, but it is an actual argument over there.
The basket of being able to win middle phase of the game, and then they have that vein for the late.
Yeah, so Mineski's team overall is just all about sustained damage.
Right.
Renekton, Nasus, Rise, Vayne, all those guys... If they get spiked out in a fight or if they get overpoked, it's not a good thing. So Ozone, none of these looks have been very good for them.
So now the fans see a different composition of Ozone finally coming in here, running that Singed comp twice. We'll have to see if Looper pulls out anything else for the fans. They're not really trying to keep themselves hidden, but they are using what they need to.
Yeah, I mean, they are going back a little bit for Dade. I think he's the one we need to track the most. The different pick coming out from Imp is also very curious because Ezreal is not super typical for his champion pool.
And let's get right to it. It's time for our second match of the day and the 7th game in Group B. It's pretty interesting to, you know, we have to remember Gambit did kind of switch out Voidal and Darker throughout the season, so there's a bit of a change for them. But coming into this game, I think it's about the picks in bans. It's really going to alter it for these two. It usually does, but we heard Alex in an interview with Travis saying Vulcan and Gambit have similar picks to each other.
Yeah, and the craziest thing about Vulcan, especially when they're in the North American, Vulcan is actually looking for a fair bit of control.
Both teams love fighting, so as we're waiting to spawn onto the fountain, let's check out and see who the viewers pick to win this one. According to LOLesports.com, 76% of you think that Gambit will walk away with the win. Monty chose Gambit, and everybody else chose Vulcan.
Well, we have to remember...
wasn't making those mistakes, so Gambit adapts, and they made it happen.
That was an exceedingly measured victory by Gambit. They, even with the aggressive composition and the ability to start fights from very different places, they only fought a couple of times, but always in incredibly important positions, right after the Baron, right before the Dragon, and they ended the game quickly because of it.
All right, chat. Well, that quick game, we're going to be sending it over to Quickshot and crew for a breakdown of Gambit's dominating victory. Thank you very much, Shocks and Caesar. This should be a good one. It's our third match of the day, Korea's Samsung Galaxy Ozone versus the European champions, Fnatic. And while expecting a crew ended the first day of Worlds with 1-1 record, it's hard to get a read on this Fnatic team.
It really is. It was a day of extremes for Fnatic because they got dominated by Vault Shen. Fnatic's not going to be able to pull this off.
All right, well, as the teams load onto the Rift, let's take a look at who you guys think is going to walk away with the win. According to LOLesports.com, our closest game of 51% believe that Fnatic is going to be able to take the Nexus, and the analysts all pick Ozone.
I can imagine being a fan at home right now and being like, you're counting my fan vote. I was one of the 49%, right? Because it's those Riot versus everyone else right here. It's just, oh, man. Fifth would happen after their tough loss to Vulcan on day one.
I think Ozone a little too sure of themselves and their power. Coming in with the Singed and everything in their build, I'm not going to say they thought they could make it all the way with one composition, but they definitely had a lot of power that looked like they could. I was pretty surprised at what they did, but now that they're actually being caused to switch up their champion so much, I think it's hurting them.
Yes, MVP, or Samsung Galaxy Ozone,
right,
really needs to take some time and think about their strategy coming into this one because they seem to be figured out and they have not adapted very well to the current patch.
All right, everyone, we're going to send it over to Quickshot and the guys at the analyst desk to break down the keys.
Performance. That was not a confident performance by any stretch of the imagination. They struggled there. You know, when you're looking at the rest of the group with Fnatic, Gambit, and Samsung Galaxy Ozone all ahead of them so far, that was not a performance you think they're going to take it by storm.
Yeah, and even though Vulcan did take down Fnatic immediately said, like, yeah, we really screwed up in Champion Select there. We didn't play our game. And you compare Fnatic in that game to the rest of Fnatic's games, and that squad looked a whole lot better. So